teams representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
Hello and welcome to the Global Poker League. I am Laura Cornelius and it is Tuesday night. We already are into week 7. Tonight it's all about 6 max action and we will see 2 matches from the Eurasian Conference followed by then 2 matches from the Americas Conference as well. So let's take a little look at the lineup and what we have to offer you this evening. I know one player making his debut this evening is Sorel Mizzi of the Berlin Bears. He will be in action in that first Eurasian Conference kicking off today. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central European time. We've got a great lineup and it's not changing. It's going to be the same for both Eurasian Conference 6 max matches. Then coming up in the Americas Conference 6 max matches, that match 63 starts at 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central European time. And then we have the same lineup again for that second 6 max match as well. We hope you've been keeping well at home. You've had a good weekend. You're well and rested and all good for week 7 here at the Global Poker League. I'm joined now by one half of Griff Graff. It is Griffin Benja.
Hey everyone.
How you doing?
Good, great. I'm very excited.
Had a good weekend. Are you rested? Are you ready
yes,
for this week?
Yeah, very, very rested. Ready to go.
How did you feel last week, Wen? What was some of your highlights of last week's action? Obviously,
don't get me started.
It's been a while, but we've had 6 max action and we had heads up action.
We saw Sam Trickett. That was a lot of fun.
Well.
Managing to win every all-in against Brian Rast, as he does.
Brian Rast didn't do so great, did he? He only managed to
to
pick up.
Brian. I think Brian played pretty well, but he just was a unfortunately for him, the cards were not falling in his favor, as they usually don't against Sam Trickett. They have a lot of history on the high stakes tournament schedules. So
did you feel that between them when?
They talked about it. That's what the webcams are there for, Laura. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
No, they were great. I think they both kind of talked about it, and they're also both watching the delay. I think Brian got a bit frustrated because he felt like he couldn't win an all-in so far in the GPL, and then what we really saw in the heads-up match in particular was that he's incredibly talented, and when he starts to get going, he's going to be a real threat for the Berlin Bears. Great selection by Philip Brunson.
Talking of the Berlin Bears, we saw Bill Perkins in action too.
Yes.
Didn't do so great in the first one, but it was all right in the second one.
Bill Perkins is he's an enigmatic character, that's for sure. So I'm excited to see him play again for sure.
Mike Lear did well last week as well. We won't see him back today.
No, we won't. Mike Lear, unfortunately, will not be back this week, but hopefully, maybe at the summer series, maybe in the final week of the show.
And let's talk about today, the debut of Sorel Mizzi.
Yes, Sorel Mizzi. Personally, big fan. Love me some Mizzi, the Mizzinator. Miss you, buddy. Sorel is someone who's, I was really excited to see him get selected, especially so early, by Philip Brunson. He's a great character. He's got a lot to offer the league, and he has a wealth of talent. So it's good.
And the Moscow Wolverines obviously flying high in the conference. They have 14 points clear of any other team right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get Anatoly Filatov on the line. Because he did very well, I think, just 2 weeks previously, a first and a second.
Yeah, Anatoly's fantastic. He's great for the league so far. I'm loving that he's the manager of the Moscow Wolverines, adding a little flair to those super robots that just play frickin' perfectly every time they get on the field. So it's really fun to have Anatoly, throw in those shades and give us a show.
We've got Alex Luneau back as well.
Yes, Alex on the moon. I've actually received word from Sam Grafton, and he told me that he's actually going to be playing from the moon today. So it's very exciting for everyone involved today that he's going to be actually on the moon while he's playing.
What's the whole moon joke?
He's Alex on moon on PokerStars. God damn it, I sent you the email.
Yeah, but is that
just skim it?
Is that just because of his name means moon?
No, his name is literally Alex on moon. It was Luneau moon. Yeah, I think it's a French thing. Jeez,
Yeah, I'm just checking. That's
okay,
no,
we're on the same
moon,
page.
right? Yeah.
We're on the same team, Laura.
Okay, so have you got Are you corresponding with him?
Yeah,
via the
well,
moon?
no, obviously, I mean, I'm telepathically we're communicating. I mean, it's tough to reach a guy on the moon.
What,
I don't
with
have
your-
any
with your
contacts at
superhuman,
NASA. Yes, with my superhero abilities.
Are you ready for the 6 Max action?
Yes,
Who
I'm
are you
totally
most
ready.
excited to see play today?
Oh, Scott the Wrecking Ball. I mean, he's been showing up and he's been taking on the big shots. That's been fun. Alex on Moon is always fun to watch. Luneau. I'm hoping to have a couple more bottles of wine in the background, maybe. Just, maybe showing a little drunken French flair.
Oh.
Just kidding, Alex. Keep it together. This is a professional sports show. Who else am I excited to see play? Federholtz. Always a great
how
character.
Could we forget
Little
Fedor, who
Fedor's
played
playing
last week?
Yes.
And he won his heads-up match.
Yes.
He clean sweeped it.
Emphatically. Definitely, he was great. Hopefully, he will be able to be the first person to sweep the 6 Maxes for the LA Sunset.
Yeah,
and Aaron Paul, and I can bring up the broom again. But we haven't seen that yet in the 6 Max matches, so that would be exciting.
Okay, so, well, I think you have to go and get ready and prepare, and
I do.
we are
to
going
review last week's matches.
Yes.
Bill Perkins and all that, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from last week.
2 weeks ago. I know. That's okay. I turned it into a bit.
Yeah, this was the first match here. Sam Trickett obviously running really, really well. Pre-flop, all in against Rast. Definitely a theme. Anatoly Filatov stealing the show in the second round, getting Slinolin to shove the ace-deuce. This hand didn't actually win him the match, but he did end up going on to win it. And Anatoly, what a character, Sam.
His good run of form early in the GPL, continuing.
Form running, excellent.
One of probably the top manager that we've seen
Definitely.
so far.
The Americas Conference, Week 6, Match 53. Mercier, in particular, I was excited to see, but what an incredible lineup. Jonathan Jaffe really stole the show, but this hand stole, I mean, if there's a show and then there's a bigger show.
This is one of the most exciting hands we saw.
Yeah.
Fedor Holtz going for an ambitious bluff with the 10 blocker and ace of hearts blocker. Zhao Bauer folding a set, you'll see there, getting away from third set.
Tree of a
with
kind.
Jason
Ain't
Mercier
enough.
having the nuts. Pretty amazing stuff. And this was also a great hand. Martin Jakobsen flatting with the aces pre-flop, allowing Jason Mercier to make the second nut flush. Mercier bet calling the river. And this was the hand that really set things up for Martin Jakobsen to get a second place in this match. You see he had a tremendous chip advantage at this point. It was actually Zhao Bauer who came back and won that match. Martin Jakobsen, though, the star over the course of the 2 matches with a second and a first. This another really exciting hand. Scott Ball flopping the big draw, check calls the flop and called the all in on the turn, telling the fans, no gamble, no future. The Twitch chat was going wild and he binked on the river. Zhao Bauer not able to follow up his first place with any more points.
This match was extremely exciting in the 6 Max format. Bonamo against Randy Liu.
In the heads-up format, yeah, for sure. And this is how Justin took the first match, 3-bet calling off the ace-jack. Randy Liu 4-balling, all in with the king-9. Things not going the way of one of our favorite players in the GPL, Randy Liu, was really under it in this match. Justin Bonamo showing his class over the course of the 3 interchanges.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Randy a little disheartened, still always a smile on his face, even in the face of defeat. The Goku of the GPL, unfortunately, not going Super Saiyan against Frieza here.
Fortunate river here for Bonamo with the nut flush. Case King comes off, giving Randy second set, felt compelled to pay this off. And this hand really set up the sweep.
It's just so unfair to lose with like 3 kings against King 5, you know? It's just nonsense. Always happens to me.
And Brian Rast, who we saw a lot of last week, we've been waiting for his emergence in the GPL, but it was Sergei Lebedev. Again, another player fast becoming a fan favorite.
Yeah, you know, this was actually one of the only hands Brian Rast seems to have won an all-in on the GPL, so we did this a little favor for him. It's like he did win a match. He played great early on in this particular one with that massive overbet early in the match to get to this point, and a big win for him. But this, oh my God.
Yeah, Mustafa Kanat, one of the outstanding performances of the first 7 weeks. You'll see this very creative, dynamic style of his, 4-betting a Jack-3 of clubs, something we don't see too often from top players. He's one of the few players that can make this loose, aggressive style work for him. Firing on the river with no blockers to the flush, and all in. Danza did consider calling for that with the ace high for a little bit, couldn't make the call, and Kanat just running over George Danza.
Hashtag no blockers, bro. This hand, though, was incredible. Flush over flush, and what an amazing thought process from the genius Danzer on the river here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things the webcam has really introduced to the game is suspense over these big all-in moments when you get access to the player's thoughts. Danza running everything through, really felt that Mustafa Kanat had it in this spot. Really on the fence, eventually made a sighing call with what for most of us would be an automatic call. I mean, George Danza's a top
I would have shoved
player.
Sam, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, George Danza, amazing player. I mean, Kanat here as well gets through the 5-high bluff. Danza folding a full house, and this is really how the match went. Whenever Kanat was bluffing, Danza folded. Whenever Kanat had it, Danza called.
And so close to sweeping, but here on the river you see George Danzer hitting that 4-outer to avoid the sweep. Mustafa Kanat really deserved all 3 matches there, but things happen,
Yeah.
and George is obviously an incredible competitor.
Another great match was this one. The ludic Jonathan Jaffe with his T-shirts, with a smile on his face, but not registering any points for San Francisco.
Yeah, didn't
Rush.
notice the T-shirts, but I'm sure they were absolutely great. This is an example. Bryn Kenny, phenomenal, just understanding board texture, what he's trying to rep, knowing that a lot of the times Jonathan's going to have a hand like an 8 or a 7, some sort of combination, 7-6, this and that. Didn't work out. Great bluff there from Bryn.
Yeah, and Bryn Kenny, top boy. Fedor Holtz versus Duhamel. In very Mustafa Kanat fashion, Fedor Holtz swept Duhamel. Again, another young player with a big reputation, proving that the hype is justified.
Yes, and a very interesting contrasting battle between, an epic beard and someone who probably can't grow one. This match lived up to expectations. This hand in particular, John choosing to give up on the river despite having a flush draw and a straight draw.
Hey,
I'm
guys.
Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. We're Griff Graph. Get it trending, please.
Is that a real thing we're going for?
I'm not sure yet. I like the squid entity thing.
We're on the border with Griff Graph.
Yeah, exactly. Big day today, for sure. I'm excited. Are you thrilled? Are you thrilled? Good 6 max matches today. We are starting in the European division, the Eurasia division. Sorry, Hong Kong, I'm on it. And it's a lot of great players.
Yeah, for sure. Great.
All of them are great here at
lineups.
GPL.
I think we're going over to the lounge, actually.
Yes, no, I know. I just wanted to be like, hey guys,
For
just
sure,
let you
because
know.
I think the person who really
I know,
needs
but
to,
I just got on camera. Give me a second.
I know you love your camera time and support. I know you've had
Don't
4
embarrass
days,
me
4
in front of
days-
my friends.
4
This
days
is
without attention.
every single time
It's
with you.
really difficult.
We're going to send to the lounge, and Sam and I are going to work out this little issue.
Thanks, boys. Well, there are some great highlights from last week's action. As just to remind you, every Tuesday it's 6 max action, every Wednesday heads-up action from the Eurasian Conference, and every Thursday heads-up action from the Americas Conference. So Tuesday is all about 6 max. We will see 2 matches from Eurasia and 2 matches then followed by America. So every single team will play today, and we're going to take a look at the standings of the Eurasian Conference and see just how far the Moscow Wolverines are flying in front of any other team. They are now 14 points clear of the London Royals. London Royals did fantastically well after Sam Trickett helped out last week in scoring a huge amount of points for them. But yeah, look at that, Wolverines 14 points clear. The Paris Aviators, who were leading the way most of the season, we're now into week 7, are in third, obviously still tied with London. They both have 68 points there. And then 10 points separating Hong Kong Stars and Paris and London, 58 points for them. Then we have the Berlin Bears struggling to get much going, and the Rome Emperors both tying there on 51 points as well. So lots of tying going on in that table right now. As we said, second and third place tying, and fifth and sixth place tying as well. So I'm sure many teams are going to be wanting to separate themselves a little bit after today's action. 7 points are up for grabs for the first place finisher of each Six Max match. So that's 14 points available. So if London can do it in both matches, then indeed they will be up to level pegging with Moscow. But it means Moscow will still finish the day probably in first or in tied first place. We hopefully have Eric. Let's take a look at the Americas Conference and the points and standings for those right now. So New York Rounders are 73 points, 1 point clear of the Montreal Nationals now. So it's so much closer in this Americas Conference. LA Sunset are now 4 points behind second place Montreal Nationals. Sao Paulo Mets 6 points behind LA Sunset. Fedor Holtz doing well for them last week in place of Olivier Bousquet. Las Vegas Moneymakers 52 points, 10 points now behind fourth place. And San Francisco Rush right at the bottom there, 51 points for them. We thought that Tony Gregg was going to do them well. He managed to come back for that Six Max match a couple weeks ago and take first place and redeem himself, which is great. But he didn't do so well last week, so unfortunate for him. San Francisco Rush looking to score more points today, I'm sure. Let's take a look now at the top scorers so far in the GPL. Olivier Bousquet still there, but tied now with Anatoly Filatov, both 33 points. Obviously, Bousquet scoring most of his points in the heads-up format, and Filatov scoring most of his in the Six Max format. Randy Lou Nanonoko there with 24 points. He's in third place. Fedor Holtz now in fourth place with 23 points after his win in heads-up. He made the clean sweep last week. Tyler Kenny's back in action today, and so is Felipe Ramos, both with 22 points. And those two, we have seen so much action with Tyler Kenny and Felipe Ramos in the past few weeks. Always those two with the first and second place in so many of the matches that they play. Let's hope we see the same again. I'm sure they will be hoping for that as well. Let's go to Eric now and take a look at some more stats in a bit more detail.
Great to hear from you again, Laura. Today we're going to look at a new stat. Last week we introduced the total points percentage. Let's take a look at a classic stat, but one that I love, knockouts. We're talking about the number of players that players have eliminated during Six Max competition, taking a focus right now on Eurasia conference play. You know, we've talked a lot about Anatoly Filatov. We've talked a lot about Mike Lea. But what about Liv Boré? That's right, a three-way tie at first. In total number of knockouts, 7 from each of those players. They played 4 matches, have limited 7 players, picked up some very valuable points for their team as well, so good on them for that. Next up on the list is Raiden Khan of the Hong Kong Stars. Believe it or not, after 2 matches, he's knocked out 6 people. The great stat here is that in 1 match, he eliminated 5 other players. That was back in week 1. He destroyed the one table he played and picked up another score further down the road. So he's in 4th place. 5th is Andrei Patachuk of the Moscow Wolverines. 2 matches played, 4 knockouts. And Selena Lin, talk about the managers. We've talked about Boré and Filatov. How about Selena Lin? After 4 matches played, 4 knockouts for the Hong Kong Star manager. So good on them for that. We're moving on to the Six Max competition today. We'll take a look at the amount of points that each of these players playing today have accumulated so far in Six Max competition. We'll see that for the most part, it's not been brilliant, probably due to the fact they haven't played enough Six Max matches right now. But we come up with Igor Yaroshevsky, who is 22nd overall in Six Max scoring, 2 games, 8 points. Same for Alexandre Luneau, Alex on Moon, who returns to the felt today. It'll be really exciting to see Alex Luneau back in action today. 31st position is Todd Brunson. Some might be surprised by that, but he is the player with the third most points so far accumulated in Six Max play in this table today, so good on Todd for that. Christopher Moorman at 40th overall. That's kind of a disappointment from Moorman. Expect a lot of great play from him today. Guodong, whom let's not bring back the past, but had that terrible move just a few short weeks ago that eliminated him first, and that caused him to have 0 points through one match. And the debut, the guys have talked about it a bit before, but it is the debut of Berlin Bear Sorel Mizzi, his second-round pick. A lot of eyes will be on Sorel Mizzi today. Really can't wait to see Mizzi at the table. We'll round out the stats here, Laura, with talking about wildcards. Later on today, Tyler Kenny and Felipe Ramos return to the feld. They've had such a great start to the season. Let's take a look at the top 6 wildcards so far. We've eliminated the team managers for the purposes of this table, but looking at it, Nano Noko comes in first, the top wildcard so far. What a great pick by Selena Lin, 24 points through 5 matches. Good on Nano Noko for all those points. We mentioned Tyler Kenny, we mentioned Felipe Ramos. They, of course, are both tied, joined at the hip as they return, both of them today, representing New York and Sao Paulo. 4 matches played, 22 points for each. Jason Lavallee, boy, a lot of people talked about that pick. I'm not sure about that Montreal pick. Through 4 matches, 18 points for Lavallee, a great start to the year. Alexandre Luneau, 3 matches played, 14 total points. He did have that win over Dario Sammartino in heads-up play as well to increase that points total. And look here, Laura, 37th top scorer in this league right now is Scott Ball. Through 10 matches has 10 points. A lot of people were, we're pooping on Mr. Ball, but he's done great for himself, and he's going to hope to continue that. For the lowly Las Vegas moneymakers, they need points today, and they need those points to come from Scott Ball. Laura, I will see you later.
I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Thank you so much, Eric Danny there, for some top stats on some of the action we've already seen here at the Global Poker League. Let's head back to the boys now, to Griffin Bencher and Sam Grafton, and have a little bit of pre-match analysis.
Heading back to the boys. I'm Griffin. He's Sam.
What's up?
We're here. It's week 7. We've made it all the way here, and it's almost done. What's going on today? 6 max? Little 6 max? Eurasia? You ready for some Eurasia?
I'm loving Eurasia, always.
Yeah, Igor Yaroshevsky today.
Mate.
Tyler Kenny.
Moscow
Fight card.
Wolverines.
Tyler Kenny's in the other one, by the way, but this is our fight card. Go ahead. Oh, that's our screen falling, but this is Chris Moorman of the London Royals, Todd Brunson of the Rome Emperors. We got the debut of Sorel Mizzi, longly anticipated, long awaited, Alexandre Luneau on Moon, Igor Yaroshevsky of the Moscow Wolverines, and of course, who can forget Dong Guo, right? Did we say it the other way around? We got that wrong last time, yeah? He is representing the Hong Kong Stars. Should be an awesome first match. What do you think, Sammy?
Yeah, time for Chris Moorman to make an impact. London Royals very much on the rise at the moment. Still with a chance, I think, of winning this conference. Chris Moorman selected specifically because of his skills in the tournament format. I'd like to see him deliver some points today.
Yeah, obviously, Chris, a huge legend of the game, a measly $4.1 million in live earnings. Why is that, Sam? What has he been busy doing? Why isn't he crushing the live circuit? You want to tell everyone.
This is someone whose longevity is absolutely unprecedented in the internet era. Over 15 million in online tournament earnings. The most winning player in the history of online MTTs. Absolutely fantastic performer. Chance to deliver today in what is a pretty soft lineup in the Eurasia division.
You're not talking about Dumbledore, are you?
No one mentioning no one in specific. Let's talk about Todd Brunson for a moment, though.
Absolutely. Let's get on to Todd.
Got off to a bad start, getting swept in the heads-up format, but has delivered 7 points, slightly above expectations.
Are his earnings exactly the same as Chris Moorman's? What is that?
Yeah.
So like the dollar? Is this the right graph?
The 6 max format is one that rewards patience, and he's someone that has patience and will take his time. He's definitely always going to pick the sort of lower variance option, so you're not going to see him register huge amounts of wins, but also he's someone that's not going to put up donuts.
Exactly.
You're very, very rarely, I would imagine, going to see Todd Brunson going out first. But the problem for Rome Emperors is they are bottom, so like that lower variance approach, has some disadvantages.
Yes, but let's move on to Sorel Mizzi, personal favorite of mine. He's someone who comes from my hometown of Toronto, Canada. Number 3 best GPI rank. Great win rate, as you can see. About 10% of the tournaments that he cashes in, he just straight up wins. Over $11 million in earnings. A regular of the super high roller circuit. Quite a character.
Yeah. the Berlin underperformers are a team that needs someone that is a winner, because at the moment, Jungle Man, Brian Rass, these guys with huge reputations can't seem to register points on the GPL stage.
Yes, and a lover of red grapes, by the way, Sorel Mizzi. Talks about him in blogs all the time. Loves the red grapes.
Yeah,
I was eating green and blue grapes forever, but red grapes.
This is someone, this is a lineup which has got no first-round draft picks, no second-round draft picks apart from Mizzi. He is someone that plays the super high rollers. He, even more than Moorman, will fancy himself in this lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorel, this is exactly, these guys have played, he's played with before. He is really comfortable in the online format, like you were sort of implying. So I'm excited to see him play. Let's move on to the next gay. The next gay. Luneau, Alex on Moon. What a performance this guy had the last time he came out. What do you think?
Yeah, Luneau has really, really impressed. Probably one of the strongest wildcard picks of the whole GPL. No one will want to get heads up with him. Obviously beat San Martino, a very, very tough competitor, and absolutely destroyed Filatov when these two met heads up in the sixth match.
Vocab.
Well, he really, really outclassed him, I think. Yeah. And if he can get himself heads up, he's going to win a huge portion of the time.
Is there anything left of Filatov? Like, he's actually just...
No,
by the way, just letting you know, he's actually, there's many Filatovs. No, there's, many of them. There's clones of him. So every time it's a new one with all the same memories. It's freaking fascinating.
Yeah.
He's a robot. He's a fantastic player. Igor Yaroshevsky. Let's move on.
Moscow Wolverines absolutely flying high. Seems like every player they put up delivers in terms of points. Really, really, really strong franchise. We assume maybe he's got more of a cash game background, but it does seem that he's an assured performer within this kind of format. Maximized. In terms of strategy, he seemed ICM conscious. What I mean by that is he was someone that's going to turn chips into points, had the short stack, and eked into a third place, then got a second place. And that's what the Moscow Wolverines have been doing so consistently. And that's why they're top of the table.
Yeah, they always seem to get the expected amount of points. You love to talk about that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I just think that it's not always about wins. It's not always about the flair, standout performance. It's about negotiating a short stack, to third spot when the card distribution means you've got no chance of winning. It's about maximizing your expectation, and that's something the Wolverines do really, really well, and that's why they're top of the table by a country mile.
Again, like you said, Moscow really leading the charge in the Eurasia division.
They're so focused, all of them come in. There's no one that's
a bit of a cliche, Russians very focused, but I'll go with it. Let's go.
But it's true.
Yeah, they are.
But let's
move on to the wild card. He's not actually a wild card selection, but he's the wild card of the Hong Kong Stars. Mr. 5-bet all-in Willies, 3 off in week 1. Gong Dwao.
Yeah, this is almost like a second debut for Dong
fresh
Guo.
start.
He'll want to forget about his misstep in week 2 and just try to make an impact on the
I'll
GPL.
never let him forget it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And Hong Kong Stars, there's a 10-point gap, between them and third spot, and then there's a 7-point gap to fifth spot and the Berlin Bears. And, they're in the playoff spots at the moment, but they need to maintain that buffer between them and the other two franchises. And, a lot of pressure, I think, on Guodong, as opposed to the Wolverines, where no problem if you get a third or fourth here, as long as you add to the Wolverines' points tally. There's no sweating it when your franchise is so comfortably in front. The Hong Kong franchise, right on the cusp of those playoff spots.
Sorry, I just received word that a new Filatov clone has just been made to do specifically an interview with Laura Cornelius. What do you think about that?
Sure. Let's send over to Laura in the lounge where she's going to interview Anatoly Filatov.
Thanks, boys. Right, let's take a chat with Anatoly Filatov, manager of the Moscow Wolverines, who are flying high. They are 14 points clear now of the London Royals. Anatoly, you have managed to pick up so many points yourself. You must be so proud of the way that you've played and the way your team have been running the last couple of weeks.
Hello. Yeah, this is my turn right now. Yeah, I'm excited about this matchup. We have to just take points. Yeah, I made my job. This is Igor's turn right now, and what I can say, the Sorel has to prepare a lot of grape, otherwise it wouldn't work at all. But he could finish. I guess he will spew his stack to the Igor. So I'm excited about this matchup, guys. and I'm hosting it in Russian.
Now, all of your teams seem to be picking up points, whoever is playing. Is there any other type of strategy behind your success, or are you just getting lucky and playing well?
Uh, Actually, this is the three things. Like we get lucky and we played well, and we have a strategy that is more convenient for this kind of structure. But I don't think that all the players pay attention for the payouts, but we do, and we show that result, and we get lucky for sure, but uh, it's all together.
You ended up playing Sam Trickett heads up just recently. Tell us about that matchup when you were playing last week.
The Sam Trickett heads up.
Yeah, and the 6 max. Have you forgotten?
Oh,
Have you played that
I
many?
played. It
Yeah,
was like
you played.
You mean like it was like two hands, or?
That's
And
true.
then I lost?
But the whole match. Talk us through the whole match, and was Trickett a tough opponent?
Yeah, he was actually I, he was the guy who I expected to play a little bit more loose than other players, and then when I saw the replay, it was like the truth, because like he three bets Queen 9 suited from the small blind against Mustafa Khanid and did other stuff. So when he started to win stacks, I was short, and I was okay with the second place. Okay, Sam, you have to beat these guys. You have to go all in. Play a lot of hands. I will wait my time and then pick second place. And if I get lucky, I could pick first, but I didn't. So that was second place in this case. And the second match for me started really awful because I played a huge pot against Fabrice Soulier. He's my best opponent in the world because I lost a huge heads up in EPT Vienna in high roller event, and then I slow played my kings. Actually, I before the hand I just told this is an easy spot for me. I would three bet small because I expect him to make bluff four bet. Then I just call because there is no reason to shove my kings, and I hit pretty well. He hits bad, but then there was a bad run out for me, and he hits like couple of his outs, and I was a short. But then I won. I got lucky in flips and played okay. So yeah,
You beat
it
Selena
was
heads up in that one, right?
yeah. I
How could
ran
you beat a girl,
pretty good.
Anatoly?
I ran pretty good against her, so it's not my fault. Sorry, guys. I don't want to beat Selena. Actually, before in previous game, someone else, I don't remember. I guess it was Max or someone, just bad beat her a couple of times, like 2 times or 3 times. Yeah, she wasn't lucky, but it's okay. Right now you have the craziest Hong Kong Stars player in the world who's shoving a3 offsuit. As it's not my words. It's Griffin Bender or Sam Grafton, I guess. Like, yeah,
Do you think he might change his strategy after that happened last time, though?
maybe. I hope no.
We'll soon find out, won't we? Were you happy with how Lebedev played last week as well? He was great.
Yeah, Sergey is always great. He always play pretty well. He's never tilting. So if I have no idea who's gonna play, Sergey will play, or maybe Wolf Troy. But right now he's playing a lot of online stuff. They bet Urbanovich and Wolf Troy. They bet the huge money on the leaderboard and the Scoop series. So they have a break. That's why Igor is playing right now. I'm playing. Sergey is playing. Yeah.
All the Wolverines are in action. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Anatoly, and we wish Igor Yaroshevsky better luck today in the 6 max.
Okay, thank you. See you.
See
Let's
you.
go, Moscow.
Anatoly Filatov there for the Moscow Wolverines. 14 points clear of second place. They are flying with 82 points right now in the Eurasian Conference. They are hoping to maintain that lead. We're going to head over to Griff Graf right now and get this first 6 max Eurasian Conference match underway.
Thank you, Laura. This is Squid Entity 16, and it is week 7 of the GPL, and we have a great 6 max match coming up here in the Eurasia division. Sorel Mizzi finally making an appearance. It was really great to hear that Philip Grusom let him out of the home game. He's been trapped, locked up in that basement for months.
Yeah, let me ask you a bit
Yes.
about Sorel, because obviously in general I think of him as someone that's backed away from poker a little bit. Obviously he has other things going
I've
on in
done
his
that.
life.
Yeah.
You know, has obviously had that fight with Brian Rastad. Has other
Would you
interests.
call it a fight?
You think
I'm kidding,
he's
Brian. You're
obviously does
legend for
post
stepping in
big
there, yeah.
results online when he comes back for Scoop and W Coop. You know, what do you think his game is as good as it once was?
Yeah. I mean, I was hesitating because I hadn't figured out the answer yet, not because I think that he could have really gotten worse. I mean, the whole thing about poker is that it is a bit of a sort of an organic thing. It's like an organism. You constantly need to be in there and playing to see how it's changing and adapting and adapt yourself.
Is he still passionate
but I still
about
think
poker?
I think he's still passionate about poker. Yeah, I know he's been doing a bit of Twitch streaming, just here and there, just to show the people his personality, talk to them, answer any questions about some of the controversies that have surrounded his character in the past. I think he's a really, interesting person, and I'm excited that he's here.
Because we should, remind newer fans to the GPL and to poker. And this is a guy who, when I first came into poker, his screen name Imperium, with that one in it, and Zangbizan on PokerStars, they really rang out down the poker streets, didn't they? He was, one of the first internet superstars.
Yes.
Has beaten high rollers, has made
Special guy. Yeah.
many WSOP and EPT final tables. A real crusher, but someone that's been a bit out of the limelight. I was really surprised actually.
Out
to
of
see him
light?
Out of the
No, I know what you heard. I know what you said. Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of instances where he's pushed the action really hard and gotten a little bit of trouble for it, and that's that's what we love here at the GPL. A little controversy. He's a great player, and we're really happy to have him here. Let's get to the action soon, but first let's talk about a couple other guys. How about Guaido?
Yeah, I mean, people will remember in that second week, made it a little bit of an inauspicious debut for the Hong Kong Stars. I feel embarrassed as someone that's punted off my stack many times with an ace blocker to criticize someone else for doing it. But it was a debut to forget. He's going to be as hungry as anyone coming into the match today.
Yes, and definitely for the real hardcore GPL fans out there,
which there are literally dozens.
There are definitely dozens of you. I'm looking directly at you, deeply in the eyes. Definitely a trend with the Hong Kong Stars in the 6-max formats. They love their aces in the small blind. Just a little hint to all the other teams out there. I don't know if this is considered coaching or whatever, but we've seen a lot of 3-betting, 5-betting from the small blind.
And Sorel with the chance to make an impact for the Berlin Bears. Chris Moorman, get the engine started here. London Royals, if they're gonna go for the top spot in the conference.
Has he done anything?
There's just so much variance, I think, in the 6-max
I'm just saying we need more, man. Come on. Just get it together.
The Moormani, legend of the UK poker scene, legend of the worldwide poker scene. So he just went again into the top 10 on pocket fives. Someone that has incredible pedigree in the game. Sorel, actually,
of course
your boy
he is
sat out at the moment, but we are going to go to the action.
Like right now.
Any second.
Yeah.
There we go. And we do have Moorman on webcam, and I predict that's going to be.
I wish
Luneau.
that was Sorel's.
You can see a bottle.
It's even better if the camera would have been on Sorel. Do you know what I mean? But he's just not there. But we
it'd
obviously
be sick
Luneau.
if he was playing on the Luneau account. If he just popped into Luneau's office and took over for the Aviators.
Oh my God! Please tell me that is Sorel with a Luneau mask. I mean, they kind of have the same little bit of a look. Obviously, longer hair.
But wait, Moorman's going to give us a little gem. Go on, Moore. How's it going, Chris? He's got Busquets-esque eyebrows I've never noticed before. Maybe the second strongest eyebrow game in the GPL.
I hate this. Yeah, well, I hate to say it, but definitely got a little OC in him. What's the actor's name from the OC? You wouldn't know.
Never
You ever watch the OC?
Nope.
You guys know. It's the father.
And Guodong folds the Jack 3. And I imagine we're going to see Todd Brunson coming in for a raise with the suited ace. Pretty standard in this GPL format.
Okay, welcome to another GPL match. I think this is my 4th one, and I'm yet to get a top 3, so hopefully do a bit better this time. Just going to fold this against Todd, this deep out position.
The Moorman book of folding. And Luneau defends 9 deuce. And
More like
flops,
less.
flops
yes.
big.
Terrible. Just terrible.
And Todd Brunson with a hand that even though he hasn't made a pair, is strong enough to bet for value on this flop.
The muck of the beast.
With such a strong draw, he really doesn't mind chips going in and turns top pair. And Todd now with a decision whether to bet for value or not, elects to check back. I'd love to see Luneau go for a check raise here. Could also consider an overbet, Queen Jack, Jack 10, and hearts all missed. And Todd Brunson, probably not someone that's going to look to value bet super thin, and does go for a twice pot bet on this river.
Beautiful.
Todd Brunson having capped his range, so taking out the very strongest combinations from his range when he checks back the turn. In all likelihood, you're never going to check back quad nines, ace king on that turn card. So
masterclass bet here.
This bet very effective with misdraws and with very, very strong hands. And Todd Brunson in a real tough spot right out of the gate.
Looks like Todd Brunson has a king or an ace.
And he does make the call. Well played by Alexandre Moon. Playing out of this world.
Getting the absolute maximum. And you see the advantages of being able to deploy a wide range of bet sizes. Something we see
Sorel's actually sitting out,
a lot from the cash games.
An interesting dynamic.
Cash game players who, you know, that elastic bet sizing on the river from very small bets to very, very big bets, maximizing with value hands and putting an immense amount of pressure on opponents' ranges with bluffs. Really great stuff from Luneau. Not the first time we've seen a Berlin Bear slow to get out of bed.
Hey, man, they're hibernating. You know how it is. The Berlin Bears, in particular, don't hibernate during the winter. They hibernate for the entire first season.
And people wonder why you got this job.
Do they?
Well, I do.
I do every single day.
And did Yaroshevsky check call this bet? I was looking at you admiringly.
No, see, the blinds are 100 or 200, so the raise pre-flop was to 444. So 444 plus 8, that's 888.
Check back.
That's 888. It's a poker site.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Luneau delaying his continuation bet and allowing Yaroshevsky to outdraw him.
I'm going to open wider with Sorel not there, kind of in the cutoff, so as long as I get through Alexandre, I've got position.
This is the moment we like to see. You guys probably already know, but Chris has published a book on poker strategy, Moorman's Book of Poker. You know, him and also Jonathan Little, of course.
Side. Careful not to play too many tables, only in the hot 33 and the big 44.
Jonathan Little as
to
well.
Leave out the big 880 today.
Players who, you know, contribute to the long line of great poker books following the footsteps of Elke and Dan Harrington. That book available to buy. I can strongly recommend it. I've never read it myself, but heard a bit of strategy from the great man.
Opening pretty wide, I think.
Loving it, Chris.
And this is what I'm talking about. I really felt like for Moorman, Mizzi, and Luneau, they're going to fancy their chances in this lineup. Moorman going to employ a slightly looser strategy than he perhaps otherwise would. Obviously, really helps Luneau and Moorman that Mizzi
could check here or just bet small. I think I'm just going to bet small this time. Just for protection, for value. Could barrel here and try and get him to fold a 6 by the river. Or weak king, maybe. It's a bit interesting lead from Todd, actually.
And Very unusual lead here from Todd
I mean, he has
Brunson.
more straights than me, obviously. I mean, maybe not if I'm opening 5-4. It's bingo, bongo, bango.
Chris Moorman, river
If he
and
leads here,
straight.
though, I'm probably just going to call. I don't really see much value in raising. I mean, he could pay off a set, I guess, because it looks a bit bluffy on my end. I mean, 5-7 on a block. I guess it depends on his sizing. That big, I'm probably just going to call.
And Todd Brunson off to a bad start here. Really don't like that bluff from Brunson.
Getting hurt.
Think you're going to want to have a hand that isn't as an effective a bluff catcher as Ace Queen is, or at least one that is drawing to the nuts in some way. Plenty of other hands you can take that line with. Todd Brunson, maybe a little frustrated having paid off Luneau's overbet, trying to win a pot that wasn't his for the taking. And
Above average flop.
yeah, Chris Moorman flopping well.
You know, Todd Brunson
Could
obviously
be, interesting
instantly losing
river spot,
12,000.
yeah. I mean, I'd have to call turn just because he has too many queen jacks, barrels, jack 9, I guess. That is. I mean,
I'll get to the Todd stuff in a sec, guys. Let's just let Chris do his thing.
not going to be liking many rivers. Kind of prefer a hand that could improve more on the river than this one. Like if it comes an 8 on the river, I really just don't think it's going to be bluffing. So can't wait for the commentators to give me a boost for this fold.
Unbelievably terrible fold from Chris Moorman. Moorman's Book of Folding, please pick it up in stores, online, anywhere you can find it. Obviously, just busting your balls, Chris. Really tough spot. Deciding to make the, you know, pretty tight but cautious laydown there with second pair, facing a near pot bet on the turn. I think it's much more of a reflection. Oh, we got a shitty ace. So Dong Guao's in the action. We'll let Chris take over again. I'm loving the Chris talk.
I'm not going to size this too big because I want to be able to pill a 4-bet if I get 4-bet. I know the Hong Kong stars are pretty aggressive pre-flop, so might 4-bet me some kind of ace red hand.
Chris Moorman picking up the pot for a very small 3-bet. One of the problems with opening hands which have that little playability versus a 3-bet. Also interesting, you know, you can see Moorman, someone that comes from an MTT background, not afraid to use an exploitative sizing to adjust his sizing according to his hand.
This is quite hilarious. Sorel Mizzi sitting out with the ace-king of spades if he only knew.
We'll make him do it. But I'm
and then
sure
Luneau
he's
with the
probably gonna do it.
10s, who should 3-bet here and take it down. But really would have been quite the cooler blind on blind had Sorel showed up for anything on time in his entire life.
And, you know, one thing to say, Todd Brunson, if he does bust first, going to make me look bad for saying he's never going to put up a donut. But also, you know, it's a lot of extra pressure. You don't want to bust before someone that is sat out for the entirety of the match.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that would be an absolute disaster.
It would be, you'd be destroying yourself.
And Igor Yaroshevsky with ace-10 suited. Some players will opt to just peel here, but perhaps picking up on the fact that Chris is playing a looser strategy than most. If he's opening 5-4 suited under the gun, you know, which went to showdown, and Igor has that information, just think how loose he's going to be opening from 2 spots later on the cutoff. Ace-10, certainly good enough to 3-bet for value, but you want to keep some stronger hands in your flatting range.
Definitely good enough to think about it for 45 seconds and then make a decision.
Igor You know, it's okay. They're entitled to take their time. They got a time bank for a reason.
If he just calls or folds after taking this long, I mean, I'm personally going to write a complaint to the Moscow Wolverines. But obviously, you know, he's either picking a sizing or something's going on with his computer. This is the fallible internet after all. Come on, Igor.
If you're joining us a little bit late, Sorel Mizzi is sat out. That's one bit of news. Todd Brunson
Interesting to see, actually, if Sorel
has lost a lot of his
doesn't
stats.
come back, how many points he ends up getting. Feel like he could get a third or something just with the nature of the format when the blinds get big.
Yaroshevsky does call and does flop the nut flush draw. Chris Moorman catching a pair.
Just going to check back here.
And taking a street of action out, controlling the size of the pot, and letting Igor Yaroshevsky outdraw him.
Yeah, Chris Moorman, you know, a new book coming out soon. The Check of Folding to Let Your Opponent, Book of Folding to Let Your Opponent Get There on the Turn.
Well, I mean, the thing is
checking.
Yaroshevsky.
Yeah. I blew the kicks there, but it was
yeah. And Moorman does get away from it on the turn.
I am the master of folding.
I'm old, please fold. Really got some great screen names, Chris Moorman. In Your Eye, 21 or whatever. That was his. That was his ultimate bet one. I'm old, please fold.
What are some of the ones you've had?
Sammy_Grinder, mate. On full tilt. Rest in peace. Full tilt.
Yeah, why is that? I played a little
today.
poker on.
You know, I final tabled the Brawl on Sunday.
No,
Old school. Yeah.
I played a little poker on Sunday, and I asked my investor, can I play some full tilt? And he's just like, no. But that would have been my last hurrah. I could have won the Brawl. Should have been there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great site. RIP, full tilt, fun times.
Yeah, rip. Wow.
Value Town 1 on the Cake Network.
Nice.
Case Money Hustler on Titan.
I've had some good ones. I've had Mad Mardigan on 888.
Yeah.
Obviously a Willow reference.
Didn't get
Val
that.
Kilmer.
And Yaroshevsky taking his time again from the small blind. We finally got a work experience boy here at the GPL, just handing me a glass of water so I can quench my thirst, do an even better job of commentating for you great people here in week 7 of the Global Poker League.
Really maximizing, you know, his potential by bringing us some
And
water. We
Guodong
appreciate that.
Picks up the pot. First pot of the day for the Hong Kong star. And Yaroshevsky going to get things started with the Queen 10 suited, and Guodong with a very legit hand in the small blind, and Todd Brunson with also a strong holding in the big blind. Guo going to take his time to comprise the sizing.
I got to say, the thing that I love about Dong Guo, he's really balanced in the small blind. No, seriously, when it comes to...
And Todd Brunson immediately releasing the ace-jack. That's what I was talking about the slightly snugger style of Brunson. A lot of players would have at least considered a 4-bet there. Brunson avoiding a very awkward spot. And Guodong flops top 2. Yaroshevsky with third pair and a gut shot. Backdoor flush as well. This is a board where even a hand as strong as ace-king is going to need a lot of protection. A lot of pair plus gut shot combos. Exactly the type of hand that Yaroshevsky actually has in this instance. Going to be some king jacks, ace jacks, ace tens. And obviously you can call a hand like king queen, and a queen does come off. Disastrous card for Guodong. Equities flipping in Yaroshevsky's favor 94% of the time. He will win at showdown now, and Guodong's hand now just a strong bluff catcher.
Some long hands here.
And Yaroshevsky checks back and rivers a full house.
Like we're getting one hand in per level.
And this card may give Guo the opportunity to get away from this hand. Any jack, now a straight. And Guo Dong bets out a sort of blocking bet, hoping to get called by an ace-x. Think this is a little bit of a misstep from the Hong Kong star. Yaroshevsky just calls with the full house.
I don't see any value in raising. As you can see,
Guo sort of over-representing the strength of his hand. He's got so many stronger combos he can bet for value. I think an ace-king is a check in that spot. And Guo Dong dropping down to 17k. Really unfortunate run out for the Hong Kong star representative. But that river card did give him an opportunity to get away from the hand. You agree, Griff?
Yeah, you know, Dong, you know, doing some sort of a block bet there on the river. You know, I know where he's coming from with the decision to do that. He's trying to get like a weak raise to pay
so
off.
wide as well early on, like look like I'm going for it here. 450 seems good.
Moorman, who has been very active, squeezing now with the ace-king. As we've said many times before, Chris Moorman with a reputation as one of the most aggressive online players in the world. Someone who has punted off
I don't want to go too big
on numerous occasions.
Like I can't fold to Dong if he shoves. Maybe Igor could 4-bet fold here, like if he has a ace blocker or something.
Chris in the zone.
And I hope for
All the way
Guo's
from home.
sake, he elects to fold here. Doesn't become sort of, doesn't let Moorman's reputation over-influence him.
Be a great story. What a character you'd be like the pre-flop punter from the Hong Kong Stars. Just if you just could just own that right there in that moment. So market yourself, man.
Yeah, it's such a tough spot though when you do peel with the king jack, because you feel like your hand is pretty face up and ripe to be attacked. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That your range is kind of capped and weakish.
I'm gonna play a limit strategy, I think, against Alexandre. Keep pot smaller. Limit the whole range. It's kind of better flop than his range. He can have a lot more two pairs than me. So I'm just going to start with a check. King high obviously has showdown as well. And when I check call here, won't put me on too many flush draws. So if we make the flush, we are loving life.
Luneau.
I'll see you at the river, Alexander. Hopefully I improve.
By the way, that's massively my lyric, by the way. See you at the river.
Yeah. Chris trying to walk the dog here against a man that spends a lot of time walking on
this card just because I have a lot of ace highs and sort of like ace 5 stuff that will make it to the river.
And Luneau turns an open-ended straight draw. And could even consider overbetting here on the turn. If you had a hand like 3 deuce, yeah, I love this from Luneau.
Overbet.
Moorman's plan to get to the river somewhat stalled. And this is what makes cash game players so tough to come up against. Luneau so aware of his range advantage. I think a lot of MTT players, you can see half pot bets.
Bluff if a 4 comes, I think.
Make it so much easier for Chris to get to the river. Moorman does call, and river's top pair.
Well, a lot misses. Maybe just got a call here.
Is that Chris clicking on a different poker site? Is
Yeah,
there another poker league? What's it called?
He's playing the
International
big
Poker League?
44, he told us.
The Epic Poker League?
He could easily have 2 pairs and straights here. Beat hearts, turned hearts, some kind of like Even if he was barreling like 6, 8.
Really tough spot for Chris Moorman if he faces a big bet here from Luneau.
My turn was a bit suspect, but
And you can see Luneau agonizing over the decision.
yeah, I got called for this price, but could have less value, maybe. But
Go on, Moorman. Moorman's booker calling. Let's see
scary
it.
size in half pot. Wait.
Nice entries.
Yeah.
And Moorman taking down a good sized pot. Obviously, that is a sizing that would have worked had Chris the King 10 of clubs, the Ace Jack of clubs, the Ace 6 of clubs, plenty of flush draw plus gut shots or such like that he could have. You know, Luneau not necessarily targeting a rivered top pair.
Yeah, interesting, obviously, that Luneau, tips the cap to him, but really, I almost took that as a, nice call on the turn, but on the river, it's just like, you hit your pair. Like, you're dealing with Alexandre Moon here, buddy. Like, when you got the King Jack and it comes 9, you calling? When you have King Jack of clubs and it comes 9, you calling? 0% of the time, and that's what makes Alex on Moon such a huge threat here in the GPL and for the Paris Aviators.
He limps, so maybe he doesn't know that Sorel is actually not there.
Wow, Luneau not aware. Do you hear that?
Now with the chip lay, we can really go for it.
And poker fans could well be in for a treat if Chris turns on
It's gonna see about this one.
his top. What am I looking for? What metaphor? If Chris goes into top gear, if he that he can actually bash up a table like no one else.
Yeah, I mean, you might even go.
If I had ace 10, I would check. Ace jack.
The top boy.
I think it's okay, just about here. There are a lot of hands I want to barrel here. All flush draws, all clubs, all diamonds, all straight draws. So I can't really stop bluffing this hand. Could potentially hero call on some rivers if it bricks out for me, or I could improve. Kind of an interesting one if he. I'm kind of capped, so he could check raise. Could check raise bluff me, but I think I just go bet, and if he does, and we'll make a decision then.
Moorman does bet for value on the river. When Chris says he's capped, he means it's very unlikely he has. He would barrel Jack 10 on the turn, so he can never have the nuts, and would likely barrel all diamond draws on the turn as well. Jack X of diamonds. And
Great start, early days here for Chris.
Yeah, and he has got off to a good start before. He'll be looking to realize a bit more equity than he has in the past. Really tough spot for Guo Dong and Todd Brunson. Being shorter than Sorel Mizzi, who is sat out, would be an absolutely disastrous situation for them and their franchise if they were to bust before a player who has not even got out of bed.
I mean, to be fair, it's like, 20 past 9 in the morning where he usually lives. So
For sure.
it's tough.
Yeah, but for
Early
your
days,
But for your GPL debut, bruv, I mean, it's not an ordinary day in the life of Sorel Mizzi. And a raise, a 3-bet, and Guodong with ace-queen in the small blind. And this is the sort of spot I'm talking about with Mizzi sat out. So hard to pull the trigger. And Luneau, not with a straightforward decision with the 7s either. Not appetizing to peel a hand like this out of position against a tough opponent. And he just YOLOs it all in. And now the decision is on Yaroshevsky. Lets it go. And not something we always see, the 3-bet fold with the ace-queen. But Yaroshevsky couldn't make the call. Assumed Luneau's range to be either ace-king or pairs and folded a flip. In your eye, Igor Yaroshevsky. Moorman.
Don't expect Todd to be the type to limit shove, really. So
raising the 5-2 suited.
There.
Picking up the pot pre-flop with a hand where it's hard to flop top pair. And Chris Moorman with an absolutely dominating chip stack here. Twice as many chips as every player except for Yaroshevsky. A little bit reckless from Luneau, I think, even though it did work on this occasion. I mean, no real great options there with the pocket 7s. Didn't necessarily expect him to jam, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he was 30 big blinds effective, and he thought that
the power of the pair.
Yeah, pair's a pair there. I think it's one of the few spots where, you know, I mean, if the guy's 3-bit folding ace-queen, as Sam Graffin would say, it has to be a plus EV shove.
Yeah, of course it's plus EV. It's just unfortunate for him if he gets called there with Mizzi sat out. And
right.
I mean,
the thing is, it's going to take a while for Mizzi to blind out.
When I was like cut off, I was actually bottom and stuff. Oh well.
This definitely a combo Brunson could have considered checking back with the club as well. Not too many bad turn cards for jacks in this spot. Bet calls a check raise, leaving himself 2/3 pot behind. Horrible spot for Todd Brunson. Calls it off and is eliminated for the donut.
That's unfortunate.
The Rome Emperor's bad run of form in the GPL continues.
There must be some weird consideration as Sorel is AFK in terms of ICM.
Luneau referencing ICM there. The fact that...
It's almost like Todd doesn't know much about it.
I mean, I don't know. It's really, really difficult for Todd. Not much going his way. But what bluffs does he have when you've got the jacks? You know, his bluff is going to be Jack 10, yeah, like or King Jack of clubs, and you've got jacks
but he has
with
two jacks, so it's less likely. That's how blockers work.
Yeah, for sure.
Being a little condescending here behind the desk, but Todd, you should learn that lesson right there. Can't bust 6 there. Can't do it. Can't do it. I won't do it.
I think
again,
taking out a street on the flop is probably the first thing you want to do with jacks on the queen eye board.
In this particular instance, yes.
And Guodong with pocket 6s, a gut shot to a straight. Igor Yaroshevsky with a little bit of showdown.
Ace King here for Luneau. 3 betting. Christopher Moorman. Yaroshevsky just snap folding the 7s. These guys know what's going on in regards to ICM considerations. Obviously, you know, very clear it is a fold, but, you know, not even half a consideration. This is a guy who's really studied everything going on. Chris getting a pretty good price here with 10-9 suited.
The options are a call or fold. Don't want to fold that bluff with this hand. It's too good. Out position, I'm going to be cautious, I think, here. Even though I got the chip lead, I kind of like the spot I'm in, and I don't want to get involved in a huge pot here, really.
Really interesting that Chris decides to fold for such a good price with such a pretty hand. Sam, I mean, he opens to 1266 with the 10-9 of clubs. He's 3-bet to 3,200 by an ace-king in position, and they're 50 big blinds deep. I understand, you know, with Sorel Mizzi sitting out that you need to consider folding, but with a price like that, just 1,900 more to call.
Well, I mean, I think it's an adjustment based on Luneau.
Right.
It's
too good post flop.
I have a gut shot here, but it's just a way better.
Sorel's sitting out.
It's that.
It's a really cheap price. So he puts in 1,300 and
like,
1,900
not too much value to be when I do make my hand.
I mean, it's a situation where Chris feels he's a much stronger player than Guodong. He's got Sorel Mizzi literally sat out, and he just wants to lower his variance. I agree that, you know, perhaps also something of Chris's tournament background. Tournament players a little less comfortable peeling 3 bets out position. You know, and Luneau has just shown himself already to be such a strong post-flop player.
Make a big 3-bet. Commit against him.
I'm just seeing, even if
folding, way too wide.
I know what you're saying.
Even if it's Mustafa Knet or Federholz.
Yeah, obviously 10-9 suited, such a sexual hand.
It's 1,900
yeah,
more, bro.
Obviously, I'm never folding 10-9 if that's what you're asking me, but I understand Chris's thinking in the spot. And Luneau here flops best.
It's kind of a disadvantage to limit calling this in these situations, pocket fallers. I think I'm going to value bet here. Sure, sometimes you could have a better hand, but get value from ace high. You can put me on some draws. I mean, a lot of my draws get here. Obviously, I have showdown. If I check, though, he might turn something into a bluff.
See, Chris.
I have better hands to bluff with.
Really second-guessing everything because Luneau, such a talented player. Don't think Luneau's going to have many bluffs when the hand plays out that way, with the jack coming on the river.
Yeah, you know, I think you were talking a little bit about, you know, the reasonings why Chris Moorman decided to make that fold pre-flop, and I think it has to do with pretty much the same line of thinking.
And
Mainly
Mizzi,
online.
he's
Definitely
back.
a lot of live as well.
Hello, Sorel. Morning.
Wakey, wakey, hands off snaky, Sorel.
And Mizzi going to be immediately involved with a gut shot and spade in his hand. Not a combo he's going to be inclined to fold on the flop. Chris Moorman, a boarding mission, does beat Jack 10 on this river. And going to be interesting to see whether Mizzi elects to bluff with this combination or if he thinks it's good enough to try and show down. He does far out a bluff.
Jack 10, the main one, really. Some flush, baby flush draws that didn't check raise the flop. So obviously you can go really wide for value though, any 9 or
Pretty
9x.
elite sizing here from Sorel Mizzi. Definitely looks strong, but value at the same time. Just over half pot here.
Not sure if it bluff with Queen Jack, Queen 10, he might just show them down. But it'd be a bit of a disaster, like all his hands, and he is bluffing those.
And that's exactly what's happening, Chris. This is why this isn't a call. See, he doesn't block any spade draws. But does block that queen 10 and queen jack.
And Sorel, Mizzi, bluffing with the best hand, but
yeah, and
he's back in the flow, and he's
he's third in chips.
Yeah.
Who needs to play the early levels? Maybe we're going to see a strategy. You know, like people late reg turbos. You just see everyone sat out for the early days of the
GPL.
I
mean, all the only indication I got from that first hand is you know, an absent Sorel Mizzi is better than a playing every hand Todd Brunson. Just kidding, Todd. It's just a good spot, man.
And Chris Moorman might have to begin thinking about tightening up, because Mizzi is not going to let this loose strategy work at this table with him on the button and a strong holding in ace-queen suited. Going to be coming after Moorman in one way or another straight away. Mizzi will just be thinking whether to 3-bet here or to flat. Obviously, the only downside to 3-betting is what we saw happen to Yaroshevsky, where Luneau jammed on him and he was forced to relinquish a very, very strong hand.
A lot of broadways when he calls here, so depending on the flop. I mean, a lot of queen X, actually. And I got no cards to barrel, so I'm going to just check fold here.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons
Feels a bit weak, but
that Moorman Booker folding is effective.
Later on in the hand, because I would definitely check some queens here, some weak queens. Just going to fold to that.
I remember Chris was the first person to tell me that, like, when someone flattered you, you should always check queen high boards. He was like, oh, they've always got king queen, ace queen, queen jack, and I was like, sick.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I really think about that.
he told me that years ago. You know, like, obviously people have more
They have even more queens now?
They have more carefully
There's
crafted
more
ranges.
queens.
But
No, you're right.
Remember when
I'm opening queen 6 suited, queen 5 suited, queen. There's so many queens.
No, but
defending, I have.
Defending, flatting in position.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
when everyone used to 3-bet so much more. You know, the flat was always king queen and queen jack, basically.
Always, yeah.
A few years ago. A little bit of poker history there for you guys. Back in the day, when we were just kids ruffling around, 4-betting each other, 5-betting each other.
Hashtag a crown for the queens.
And Igor Yaroshevsky checks back top
kind of
pair.
more my flop than his. Once he checks back, he's really capped.
And Moorman,
So
with a straight draw, going to go on the attack. And I'd love to see Chris far big on this river. Yaroshevsky, not with too many flush draws, he's inclined to check back. It's actually a better card for more than Yaroshevsky, and he does far the river. Igor now in a very, very tough spot. 9-10.
It's too big and make myself look just too much like flush or nothing. But
7-9 have missed.
obviously I'll go this size with 2 pair as well.
Question is can Chris value bet a jack on this river? Not certain he can. Definitely wouldn't bet an 8. Actually, not got a huge amount of value combos here. Yaroshevsky going to try and work things through. He does have a 7, which is blocking.
At least with Igor, you always get tanks. So you get sweat.
Chris appreciating the sweat. A little bit of gamble in all these poker players. Certainly people who've been playing for as long and as at high stakes as Chris Moorman. This is really, really big spot because if Igor calls, and he does call, he will take the chip advantage away from Chris. Chris now 4th in chips. And Yaroshevsky
just play as a bluff catcher.
In strong position, and Chris is going to continue his limping strategy, I think, with the ace-queen. And these are 2 big hands. And I don't want to, I mean, this is a situation
you don't
where the money,
don't do any predictions.
The money could go in, and Chris Moorman, who was chip leader just a moment ago, is going to be at risk. This is an amazing turnaround. Boom. Queen in the spleen.
Ooh, always a sweat.
Club or a 9 required for Luneau.
Using the GPL as well for the river.
Oh my days. And
GG, 5th somehow.
You have to be
Oh
good
dear.
with flips to win sit and go.
Chris Moorman, so unlucky. Great performance from the man we call the captain in the UK, but out in 5th spot for a single point. Really, really quick turnaround there, Griff.
I am the captain now.
Look at
Alexandre
me,
says.
look at me.
Look at me.
I'm the captain now. That's what Luneau just said to Chris Moorman. We didn't quite catch it. Said it in a private Skype chat. And Sorel Mizzi, who only showed up 10 minutes ago, has somehow found himself in a position where he's already in the top 4.
I mean, this might blow your mind a little bit. Are you sitting down?
I'm ready for it.
I'm looking right at you, so I know you're sitting down. What if Sorel? I mean, you kind of implied this earlier, but what if this was all intentional? Because he's studied this format so intensely that he knows everyone goes a little batshit when there's a guy sitting out, and she shows up with the wizard gone, gets in there, and plays little pots here and there, and suddenly there's 4 left and secures a certain amount of points for the Bears. What if Gruesome is behind all of this? What if Sorel is doing it on his own?
Wow. So many layers. The conspiracy.
Sorry, I just got to get a little bit of it out here because Sorel Mizzi is securing at least 2, as much as 7 points for the Berlin Bears, who need it because the Bears, I mean, they've been sleeping in.
Yeah.
You know?
They've been sleeping in for nearly a third of the season. The conspiratorial instincts of Griffin Benja there on show. And Igor Yaroshevsky with a very playable King Jack suited blue. Beautiful blue diamonds in the small blind.
Prefer red myself.
And a lot of players would elect to just call here. Igor considering whether to 3-bet or not. Does just flat. And flops humongous. Luneau does have the ace of spades, and that might incline him to make a continuation bet. Part of Yaroshevsky's continuing range on this board is obviously going to center around nut flush draws. And this is a very interesting card because Luneau may use a turn spade as reason to continue barreling, blocking the Igor's nut combos in this spot. And Luneau fires again. And the river bricks off. Now, Yaroshevsky does have a very strong range to call pre-flop and call twice on this board. It's going to revolve around a lot of King X. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Luneau feels obligated to empty the clip, to fire the 3rd barrel. If this was a cash game, I really, really think that Luneau's going to unload here. But the format as it is, there's a chance he may slow down and preserve his chip advantage. He does check back. I think he feels that Yaroshevsky just not going to fold a king.
Yaroshevsky is not going to let go of, the Wahlberg, Clooney, and Cube there on the river. The 3 kings. Big hand there for Igor. Luneau opting not to fire there with the ace of spades. The ace of spades.
And Sorel Mizzi with a suited wheel draw might start to get involved. I think the reason Sorel would be considering his options here and not automatically opening is he can face a lot of pressure as the second shortest stack. Very, very hard for him to put in all the chips with Guodong being just on the 10 big blinds. This is something we've referred to a lot. We call it independent chip modeling, ICM, in the MTT.
No, I think it's called independent cube modeling, actually.
And it's a idea revolving around turning equity, turning chips into
Poker into
money,
sports.
or in this case, into points. So important to not bust when there's shorter stacks than you. So important to stay involved. Your tournament life, your life in the sit and go really does have a value. As we can see, just by staying out of trouble, Guodong already secured 2 points for his franchise. And if Mizzi, for instance, bust in this hand, he would secure a further point. So, you know, by you busting, you hand points to other franchises, or if you're in a tournament. If you bust, you hand money to other players. ICM is what we call that concept, independent chip modeling.
It's my colleague's gotten it wrong. It is independent cube modeling, trademarked for the GPL. We will be playing the 3v3 format in Wembley in a cube in November. So make sure you guys are aware. The independent cube modeling has begun, and it will be ready for you guys at the end of the season. A little misconception there for my colleague. Obviously, you know, long summer nights here in Malta.
Raul Tarifa on Twitter saying, LOL, Todd Brunson, hashtag GPL. Seriously, there are some players stuck in the 90s. Yeah. Luckily for us in the commentary booth, we're only stuck in the early 2000s, maybe even the mid 2000s. Griffin Benja stuck in 2009. What a great year that was.
Hey, it was 2011, okay? 2009 was... What was I doing in 2009? I think I was just learning poker. I was tricked into this game.
And Guodong using a little bit of time bank here, perhaps a disconnection issue. Guo resides some of the time in Beijing, some of the time in the great city of Vancouver. And if you're joining us late, this match started with Sorel, Mizzi sitting out and Chris Moorman getting off to a fantastic start, accumulating a huge pile of chips, a chip lead stack. 2 hands reversed that. Todd Brunson exited in 6th, and then Chris Moorman exited in 5th. Now 4-handed, everyone locked up 2 points. And it's Alexandre de Luneau, who already has a win in this format and a win in the heads-up format, who has the chip advantage. A very experienced cash game player, most well known from the documentary Nosebleed, which apparently is available on YouTube in most regions.
It's dope.
It's dope, according to my good friend Griffin Benja. And Guodong with King 8. I think most players would elect to take a flop here. Could be considering a shove. Certainly some players would fold. I think most players in the contemporary game are going to at least stick in another big blind and try and spike a pair or a draw.
Spike a draw. Like it.
Bink a draw. Mate, and
no, you said spike it,
Guo
flop, or spike
makes a very tight fold there. And one of the things about ICM is when you're the shortest stack, you can afford to gamble a little bit more.
Listen, Sam, I really hate to cut you off, but Patacek Zhang tomorrow.
Wow.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Whoa.
Everybody is waiting
Lil
for the
Wayne
return
Zhang.
of Andrew Patacek, Andrei Patacek, apologies, and the infamous Lil Wayne Zhang.
Wayne Zizzy Zhang.
Wayne Zizzy Zhang ready to focus on just the one table and fold jack high flushes for no reason.
Tune in tomorrow for the big, what we're calling the big game, Patacek versus Zhang. And Guodong with A7, and if he doesn't shove all in here, Griffin,
what are you going to do?
I'm revoking his badge and go. And I'm not going to be happy.
Well, I want to make you happy.
Basically, if he doesn't shove here, he is disconnected. He's all in, and Luneau with Jack 3 cannot call. Guo certainly with an excuse to gamble at this point in the tournament. And Yaroshevsky with a suited wheel draw is going to raise things up. And Guo Dong picking up the butchers.
Do you think he ever can find a fold with ace-5 suited here for like the 8 bigs? I'm pretty sure like never, but I'm just wondering. He seems like the type that could make some massive fold. Just do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just the price is too good with ICM and everything.
It's
stacks.
just too good against Guo's range. I mean, I think that King 8 fold is an indicator that perhaps the math does work out. This is a fold, but Guo can be shoving King Jack,
King
Jack
Queen.
10 suited. It's definitely possible. And Yaroshevsky
Oh, buddy.
So sick.
Right.
Too good. Igor.
Hashtag the futurist, Griffin Benger.
Yeah, Igor Yaroshevsky just lays
Nobody
it down.
thought it was possible.
Just finding the fold. Thing is I guess Yaroshevsky just feels like no one's going to exploit him.
No.
You know, like, for me, especially
He doesn't want to lose 10,000 chips.
Especially doing it in a format where people can see your cards. It's like people are going to just come after you too much, but Yaroshevsky snap folding, and we can see it was completely the correct decision, was massively dominated by Guo Dong's pocket kings. Do you think Guo Dong is, like, deliberately tanking to wind down the clock in some way, or, like, why is...
That would imply that he's the weakest player of the remaining of the 4, and I don't think he would ever go out and admit that.
Yeah, okay. And Yaroshevsky checking back the king deuce and out-flopping Sorel Mizzi.
Interesting decision here from Sorel, deciding to check trap with the king jack off. What do you think, Sam?
I mean, I'm sure Mizzi has done his work on this kind of spot. Wants to limp in there with a lot of hands. I mean, we can see that against Igor's range, Igor can just be checking hands that he's got completely dominated. So unlucky that Yaroshevsky outflopped him in the spot. And both players going to just check down, and Yaroshevsky going to scoop in the big blinds and the antes. Four-handed here. And you will notice that the top of the table, Moscow Wolverines, still in this, as our second in the table, Paris Aviators. Could be a really good day for those two franchises. Aviators will already be guaranteed to pull away a little bit from London Royals. Would be huge for them if Luneau could register a big score here. And Moscow Wolverines, will remind you, started the day 14 points clear at the top of the table. Record wins, record points, an outstanding manager, focused performers, and you know, that continues today. Igor Yaroshevsky, not someone that's going to sort of grab headlines in the way or in the style of Mustafa Kanit or Fedor Holtz. And we have an all-in. Guo Dong flopping a gut shot.
Dong.
And binking a top pair. And we've seen how fortunes can change very, very quickly in this format. Saw that with Chris Moorman going from the chip lead to out in just a couple of hands. And Guo Dong actually going up to over 20 big blinds.
Yeah, that's obviously great for the Hong Kong star. You know, way to go. Way to Guo Dong.
Yeah, and he was patient.
Way to Guo.
And rewarded. You know?
Way to Guo.
Hashtag wordplay.
Hashtag Jimmy Carr.
And Guo Dong again in the bank. Not sure whether this is just the style of this player. Likes to really take his time over every decision. Or if there's some strategy involved. And Luneau putting it on Mizzi, doesn't elect a limp. Strengthening his jamming range with a very, very strong King X. And Luneau with queens on the button. Mizzi folds the 5-6. And now Yaroshevsky, and he opts for the lower variance option, just flatting with the ace-jack. Again, such an important part of this format to maximize your expectation by keeping the variance lower when you're playing against a covering stack. Obviously, may not be the most plus EV line in terms of chip accumulation, but Igor with a chance of getting away from this hand for the minimum check calls with the 2 overs and the backdoor flush draw. And Luneau, this turn brings a lot of draws. Queen Jack, King Jack, Jack 8. Obviously, hearts remain. Can pick a very big sizing here, targeting the 9x and 10x portions of Igor's range. And Igor gets away from the ace-jack. Great stuff from the Wolverine. And his low variance strategy going to be put to the test again immediately. Because, yeah, nothing he could do with under 20 big blinds. All in with the ace-jack suited. Going to be a very profitable shove versus Luneau's range, but going to get snapped off here by the dominating hand. Brick on the tone.
Johnny be good. Ace King holds.
And we lose Igor Yaroshevsky. Yours truly in the commentary box, putting the absolute bock on the Moscow Wolverine there by hyping him up. Nothing he could do in that spot. And Sorel, Mizzi, with 9 big blinds, going to be all in and quite possibly at risk. King 10 suited is a call. Luneau flopping a king. And what a star Luneau is proving to be for the Paris Aviators. Already booked 2 wins and now heads up with a 3-1 chip advantage against the Hong Kong star.
Yeah, a star really being born here in Alexandre Luneau, obviously running really well in this particular heat, but really just showing his class day in, day out whenever he's playing. Really fantastic poker from the Paris Aviator.
And wasting no time to put Dong under pressure and all in with the Queen 9. And a little bit of a free roll for Guodong. Not much gone his way. Not had many playable hands or playable situations. And somehow finds himself with 5 points secured and, you know, can just hope for a little bit of run good.
You know what? Honestly, I mean, I think Guodong's played pretty well in this heat. The reality is, like you said, you know, you don't get a ton of opportunities here at the GPL. You get to play a lot of matches, but sometimes there's weeks can go by and you're not put back in the game. And Selena Lin, you know, deciding to bench Dong for a while, obviously I'm sure it was scheduling and also wanting to put guys like Randy Liu into the heads-up fire. But for Dong, it's one of those things that Dong Guo really needed, you know, after the, you know, the really rough-handed week 1 or week 2 or whatever have you. Having him come in here and not have to do too much work to get a quick 5 points, because somehow that's just how it works. You know, the nature of poker, sometimes things kind of go your way and you make some pay jumps, and I think that Selena Lin and the Hong Kong Stars are going to be thrilled with this start. And you never know, maybe Dong Guo makes a little comeback and can he be the surprise guy to get 2 sweeps, huh? Huh?
Wow, did you just drink a Red Bull or something?
I actually did. I chugged an entire Red Bull.
You really?
Yeah. I know I'm serious. I think it's all gone. Here, hold it. Can we get the camera on? It's all gone.
And Guodong going to continue with his considered approach, taking his time over every hand. Is he stalling? Guodong,
I love it.
Really slowing down the action here. And a little sigh of frustration.
Alex, hey, come on, have a glass of wine, just sit down, man.
Let's just remind the folks at home who Alexandre Luneau is. High stakes cash game boss was the wildcard selection for the Paris Aviators, along with manager Fabrice Soulier.
You know, back in my prime, actually, I did a €1 million flip with Alex Sunmoon. I lost, and now I'm here. That is a fake story, but it sounded pretty cool. I mean, most of the time I tell the truth.
You got to keep it realistic.
Yeah, I want to be a bit balanced.
If you said 10K, like, definitely would have believed it. Million is just like, I mean, obviously you did win that million in the shark cage, but you know.
Yeah.
And
Guo streets of London now.
Defend with the Queen 8. I'm going to see a flop between these two guys, heads up for the first time. Guo obviously flopping strongest, but it's Luneau who has the stronger range here. Guo very incentivized to jam King 10, King Jack and such like. And Luneau playing the hand with a little bit of subtlety, doesn't fire the flop. Checks back as he would do with a Jack 9, Ace Jack type holding. Particularly if he had the 9 of hearts or had Jack 8 with the 8 of hearts. can rep a wider range this way. Can look to take the pot away from some of Dong's holdings on the turn. The problem with that is that
Dong holding.
Guo Dong may elect to fire himself with the Queen 8 now. You'll recognize the backdrop from Alexandre's appearance in the heads-up.
Is this going to be that
format.
long every hand?
Yeah. And I think Luneau feels like he has a skill edge over Guo Dong. He's going to want to play as many hands as possible while the stacks are still relatively deep, or at least not too shallow. And Luneau comes in for a raise with the deuce 7. Guo Dong with the exact same holding, so assume he will defend. Indeed, he does, and spikes second pair. Again, a situation where it's Luneau who has all the strong holdings. Ace 9, ace king, pocket queens, pocket nines. He's going to be able to fire here with the deuce 7 because of that, but not going to get through when Dong has second pair. Obviously, the problem with firing with this hand is not too many favorable turn cards unless a spade comes. Checks back. And Guo now with the decision whether to value bet or bluff catch. Obviously, against the actual holding Luneau has, he should be checking, but does fire, trying to get called by a Jack 10, King 10 type hand.
Which Luneau does not have, and he lets it go. 7 high.
And Luneau's chip advantage cut to 2-1, a little bit more. And this is a profitable jam with the ace 8. And Luneau takes it. And Guo jams all in with the suited queen. Now the stack sizes are a little bit shallower. Doesn't flop too well, just taking the pre-flop equity of the suited queen. I said at the top of the match that Luneau would really fancy his chances against anyone he gets heads up with. This a real big opportunity for the Paris Aviators to cut the Moscow Wolverines advantage at the top of the table. Had such a strong start to the league, dropped off a little bit in recent weeks. We should remind people, Davide Kitai going to be back in action tomorrow.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since the first week. One of the outstanding performers of that first week of the GPL. A lot of fans of Davide's out there. Going to be excited to see him in action tomorrow against Sorel Mizzi in the heads up format. And Guo Dong here flopping a gut shot and 2 overcards to the second pair. Should be a board where he's continuation betting. Again, as I said in previous hands, these ace-high boards so favorable for the pre-flop aggressor. And this actually is a profitable shove with the 6-4 suited. I would imagine. Guodong probably going to be inclined to just take a flop with the suited hand, though. Actually just folds, and I think that's a leak which you can't afford to have against someone of Luneau's caliber. I think you do have to be defending with a suited connector. Not, you know, a hugely profitable defend, but just going to mean that raising is absolutely printing if you're laying down hands like that. Guodong folds the 8 deuce. If you're joining us late, we have 4 6-max matches for you today. This, the first of 4. We lost Todd Brunson for 0 points, then Chris Moorman for 1. Then who bust for 2 points? Yaroshevsky.
Yaroshevsky, yes.
For 2
Ace
points.
Jack of hearts
Sorel,
against
Mizzi for
Akon.
3 points. And now these guys, heads up, 5 points for second place, 7 points for the win. And Guodong flops a pair, checks back, and Alexandre Luneau with queen high and a diamond in his hands. Quite hard to attack this turn card because although Guo doesn't check back many flush draws, he also doesn't check back much air. If he had a hand like 9-10, very likely he would fire on an ace-king board. And Luneau does defend with the queen high. A little bit of a misstep, proving he is, after all, fallible. Maybe feels like with the diamond in his hand, he's got enough equity. Sometimes he's ahead and he can also outdraw his opponent. But I think it's very likely that Guo fires the flop if he can't beat queen high. Guodong checks it down and makes a little bit of a dent in Luneau's chip lead. Would be an amazing story if the Hong Kong star could snatch a victory here somehow, having been short for so much of the match.
Luneau just a 9-6 favorite now. Guangdong battling back here in this heads-up match, trying to secure a first game win for the Stars. Luneau with that classic 9-5, something he has never and never will have. And Guangdong Guo, of course, with the 10 deuce, the Brunson, someone he will never be.
Someone he will never meet. Maybe he'll meet him. You haven't played with Brunson?
No.
Would be sick.
I think I will one day.
If I ever get the money, I might just go sit in Bobby's room, play some limit hold'em with the legend.
Well, when that timeline happens, you let me know because I want to be on the rail.
Referring, of course, to Todd Brunson's father, Todd Brunson, 3-time World Series of Poker main event champion, 10-time bracelet holder, and one of the true legends of the game. Todd Brunson, of course, a World Series of Poker bracelet holder as well. And first real hand over hand spot, Guodong flopping top pair and Luneau flopping second pair. And Guodong checks back, taking his weakest ace-X and controlling the size of the pot with it. And against Luneau's hand, that may well pay dividends. I mean, this is a big bet sizing when you have so few bluffs, I would imagine, when you check back this flop. And I wonder if this is going to allow Luneau to get away from the queen. Certainly, when Guo Dong checks back this flop, he is going to have some king high as well. Dong considering what size to bet on the river. Guo Dong in the tank and fires out a half pot bet. And I would love to see Luneau find a fold here. I think it's so unlikely that Guo Dong takes this line as a bluff.
I'm supposed to call that, but I don't know.
Yeah, Luneau in a spot where he has very few strong hands and is going to be forced to bluff catch liberally against a balanced opponent. But I just think that Guo Dong is not going to check back that flop with air at a high enough frequency to make calling with the queen on the river profitable. Luneau showing he can adjust to his opponents and just showing his quality, even though it does mean that he's pegged back to pretty much neck and neck in this contest. Guo Dong, who registered 0 points in his first match here in the GPL.
Two suits step in the ring, representing the clubs. Guo Dong.
I mean, diamonds here are significant favourites. A 4 or 5% equity edge to the diamonds. And there we can see why, as expected, diamonds do come way more frequently than clubs. Experienced poker players will know that. And a diamond here would win it for Luneau. And it bricks off.
No furor.
Perhaps the strongest suit, ace-jack of diamonds. Somehow, Guo Dong able to fade the river. And again, both players with an ace. This time, Guo Dong with way the stronger holding. And if he'd raised here, the money could have gone in. Luneau just checks the ace-6. And both players see a flop. I think the ace-queen probably strong enough to start betting for value there on the flop. But Guo Dong checks back. And again, because the king-queen board is so favorable for the limper, because they have such a strong range advantage on that board, I think that Luneau is going to be able to get away from his hand. I think if Guo Dong had a hand worse than a6 high, he would be inclined to bet it on the flop. We shall see whether that's the conclusion Luneau comes to, though. And Guo Dong puts out a tiny value bet. And Luneau, too savvy, finds the fold, getting 5-1. Fantastic play from the Aviator. Doesn't fall for it. Guo Dong, very, very unbalanced with his sizings and his betting frequencies. And I think Luneau taking advantage of it at the moment. And
Showing a lot.
I mean, bit of a reckless jab. King 5
Should probably
off
stop opening those now.
for 22 bigs.
Some people just like to watch the world burn, Sam.
And Guo Dong now has the chip lead. Heads up here.
I'm only burning my house.
Someone's gonna be out of tank soon.
Guo continuing with his strategy of shoving wide on Luneau. I actually don't blame him for this strategy if it is a conscious choice. See, Luneau proved himself to be a very, very strong hand reader. Have very, very strong post-flop skills. So by Guo introducing a bit more gamble in the match, a bit more variance, I think that's going to suit him as the slightly less experienced player. And Guo with third pair and a 9 of hearts checks back the turn, and Luneau does not elect to turn his hand into a bluff. Feels that the king of hearts does have enough showdown value. And Guodong increases his chip lead over Luneau. Also, the slow pace of this heads-up match, I think, again, going to increase the variance, something which is going to suit the weaker player.
It must be hard to play with 3 seconds like that. Especially if he's not much used to heads-up. I guess I have to play fast, which is fine for me. I usually play very slow, but I can play quite fast.
Guodong with the chip lead right now. Seems like one of the longest heads-up matches we've had. Of course, there is a 2-4 level, but Guodong definitely playing a little more high variance of his style. I think it's really part of his strategy here, Sam. You know, obviously Luneau has proven to be almost too good post-flop. Just when you think you can't play a hand any better, you know, he plays it in a different way than even some of the better players. Definitely a rising star in this league, and someone we've really, you know, not focused too much attention on because, you know, there've been so much, we've seen so much more of the likes of, you know, Olivier Bousquet, Anatoly Filatov, Randy Liu.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an asset to a franchise when they have a player who can perform in the 6-max format and the heads-up format. I mean, we've seen a lot of, you know, issues over availability with Scoop and Monte Carlo. Having that flexibility in your squad is massive. Here, a situation, Guodong turning 2 pair, a hand he's going to be able to value, well, and he checks it over to Luneau, who now bets the 7 for value. And will we see a check rate? What? Whoa, 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 whoa. He just folded 2 pair.
He ran out of time, buddy. Come on, keep up.
Oh, my days. Guodong running out of time bank on the hot seat. And with only 2 seconds
because he has no hands, he has no times to play.
Incredibly costly. I mean, that's swung the match in Luneau's favour. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Guodong needs to sit in because he is going to cost himself the match. We've spoken about how...
It's like he's been folding every hand since he has a short time bank.
We've spoken about how slowing down the match was going to play to Guodong's advantage, but because he's run out of time, someone needs to inform him about how the hot seat works. And Luneau just able to raise uncontested, and Guodong finally sits back in time to shove with the Jack-4 suited. A hand I think he might have defended if he'd actually had time. And wow, and Guodong.
Here we go.
Limping with the queens to trap. And let's hope he can find the call button quick enough. Quick! Whoa! Oh no! Oh my god.
Oh wow. That's that. I guess he wanted to go all in and a bit of time, but anyway.
Luneau does put it in. Oh, come on, Guo, cool. Oh no.
Oh! Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess he can't play that with the time.
I've got to feel sorry for Guodong. Obviously, not practiced enough with our hot seat option. And absolutely disastrous for the Hong Kong star. Really feel sorry for Guo. I mean, he may well be smashing up his laptop as we speak.
Hey, man, it's the
Max
shot clock.
Rabinovich here with...
I mean, actually, absolutely sticking the landing. If you ask me, if you need more than 4 seconds, then you're not thinking quick enough.
I mean,
there's a reason it exists. Obviously, we changed it a bit from the 3 seconds to the 4.
Has it been changed to 4?
Yeah. Remember, it was 3 before.
Yeah.
It was even 2, maybe.
It was 2. It was 2 before. I thought we changed it to 4. But
2 to 4.
But sometimes he's got 4 seconds. Yeah. And so unfortunate for Guodong. I don't know what's up with his computer. Forced to shove the 9 deuce. And Luneau with a very cuspy decision.
Why would he shove the 9 deuce though?
Well, I think because he's just
tilted.
He's
not sure about that one, but he seems to follow out. So.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of freaking out now. Just wants to make aggressive actions before his time bank runs out. Obviously, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of the few hands you can't profitably shove. And Luneau limping the Jack 7. And all in with the Ace King. And real disaster for the Hong Kong Stars. They are still in it, but the chip advantage swung back in the favor of Luneau. For those of you who aren't aware, we introduced what we call the hot seat feature. Players have a time bank, but to prevent the kind of stalling or slow play, which Guodong has employed, they do an all-in and a call, King 8 versus Queen 9. If this runs out clean, Luneau will be victorious.
In good shape.
Queen or 9 required.
Boom.
King seals it for Luneau, who registers his second
that was a weird heads up,
in this format.
That was so weird.
And third win overall, 7 points for the Paris Aviators.
Well, that was super weird.
Yeah, strange turn of events. I was trying to inform the viewers at home. For those of you who are new to the GPL, we introduced something we call the hot seat. Players have a certain amount of time allocated. That amount of time is bumped up every time someone is eliminated. Their time bank disperses amongst the other players. It's to keep the game fast and snappy, making it an entertaining form of sport for you guys at home. And the punishment, if they use up all their time bank, is that they're on the hot seat with just 4 seconds to act. The guys are given time to practice with the software whenever they want. They, a lot of players have done their preparation. I guess Guo, perhaps not familiar with the hot seat, wasn't prepared for it, or perhaps wasn't able to respond quick enough, had been acting very slowly, slowing down the game, and we don't want that to become a feature. We don't want players to stall to stack sizes which are perhaps more favorable to their skill set. As a result, Guo, with just 4 seconds to act, and a disaster with the pocket queens, limp re-raised, and then for whatever reason, didn't manage to call off within the 4 seconds. 4 seconds really enough time to press that call button.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of lack of preparation. I'm sure, a lot of the fans of the Hong Kong Stars are watching this right now and are not happy with what just happened and want to find someone else to blame other than Guodong, pardon me, and Selena Lin and the Hong Kong Stars. But unfortunately, the rules are there for a reason. We've made the shot clock very clear. It's there for a reason, and unfortunately, not prepared.
Able to capitalize on it. 7 points for the Paris Aviators.
Exactly.
He's been a top performer in the GPL. Let's go over to Laura, who's going to interview the Paris Aviator right now.
Congratulations to the Paris Aviators and Alex Luneau. They're picking up 7 points for Fabrice Soulier's team and French side. And that's his 3rd win, in fact, now in the Global Poker League. He is one of the best performers. Alex Luneau, congratulations on that, picking up 7 points there for your side. Tell us, how easy did you find that?
Thank you. Well, that was fun. Even though I have to say the last bit was very awkward. I wasn't sure what was going on with him having no time bank. So that got me a lot confused about ranges. I was wondering whether he was making bad fold or having no time to make. I don't know. It was just very awkward, the ending. And otherwise, it was fun. I ran very good, so that was all right.
Do you think if Guodong had some time in his time bank there, he may have won the match?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, that would have helped for sure. I don't know yet. I mean, I haven't seen the hands. It seems so weird. So I guess he made a lot of I don't know. I need to see the hand, but there were a lot of weird stuff going on. So yeah, he probably lost a lot of EV in that final match.
He had queens, I can tell you there.
Queens?
Yeah.
When you mean click back?
I guess you'll be able to see it soon.
Yeah, I guess I see which hand. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Did you know much about Guodong? Had you, obviously, I don't think you played him heads up before or anything like that.
No, I don't know him. Or maybe, I mean, I don't know his name. Maybe I played it under a stream name or something. I don't know.
Did you feel like you had an edge over him?
Well, we didn't play many hands, and I didn't get to see many hands at the showdown. But yeah, I mean, I would assume usually that I have an edge over most people I don't know. I mean, it might seem arrogant, but if I don't know him, usually it's likely I have an edge, I think.
Was there anyone at the table there that you thought was a tough opponent, or didn't really think about it?
Well, they all kind of tough because this is not my specialty, like sit and go 6 max. Like I don't master at all those 1 gram short stack or the HCM considerations. So in that sense, I mean, Moorman must be very good at that, or Sorel. I mean, I'm comfortable with 100 big blind post flop, but they're better than me, I'm sure. I told the sit and go consideration.
And also it's tough because Sorel was sitting out at the beginning there as well.
Yeah, as well. I missed that at the beginning. I mean, a few times I probably should have opened some hand or defend. Didn't see it.
You're now second place, by the way. You were tying second and third with the London Royals, and you're only 7 points behind Moscow now, the Wolverines. So if you can manage to get another one, win first in this next match coming up, you are going to be level pegging in first place. So how does that feel? Pressure is on.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'll try my best. Yeah, that would be nice.
And those bottles of wine behind you, I think everyone wants to know. Have you been drinking them?
If I win again, I might have a few one.
A celebratory wine.
Yeah.
And have you been in contact much with the rest of your team and Fabrice? Or?
Yeah, we exchange regularly on Skype. I mean, we have a channel, so yeah, we follow each other performance and chat a bit about strategy sometimes. It's nice.
And you're enjoying playing in the Global Poker League. Will you look forward to playing? Are you going to play any live? Are you going to be in Vegas over the summer?
Yeah, we'll be in Vegas all summer. So yeah, we'll definitely be playing the live part. And yeah, it's fun for me. I get to play. I don't play that much No Limit Hold'em these days. So yeah, I enjoy playing those. It's fun.
And obviously, it's the same lineup of people going into this second match. So now you've seen everybody play in that first match. Will you change your strategy at all in this second one?
I mean, first of all, I didn't see their hands, and no, I'm not gonna change much. Like anyway, my strategy is mostly based on game theory. Usually, I try my best. So, and I don't have much read on them. So no, I don't think I'm gonna change much.
Okay, well, we wish you all of the best of luck, and no one has ever managed to clean sweep in a 6-max, so come first twice yet.
Yeah, well, you have to be quite lucky to do that.
Right, we're about to find out very, very soon. Best of luck. Thank you, and well done again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Alex Luneau there, picking up 7 points for the Paris Aviators. That is Fabrice Soulier's French side. And now, as we see on the table, they are just 11 points, I believe, 75 points for the Aviators. Moscow Wolverines there with 84 points. So only 9 points behind. I'm not sure that's right. London Royals in third place there with 69 points. They will be looking to gain some more points. Hong Kong Stars with 63 points. The Berlin Bears with 53 points. We thought Sorel Mizzi was going to do something spectacular. He sat out and then he came in, he managed to build chips, and then he was gone. And the Rome Emperors still unable to get much going there. 51 points. Todd Brunson out in 6th place, unfortunately. But Moscow Wolverines are still flying high at the top of the table, and they will be looking for a win in that very next game, which is coming very, very soon. Stay with us here at the Global Poker League. And don't forget, if you miss any of the replays or any of the highlights, you can catch them all on our website, www.globalpokerleague.com. Check it out. And if you want to leave us any feedback, we'll be trying to improve what we do here for you and give you the best viewer experience that we can. Don't forget, you can get in contact with us on Twitter as well, at GPL, to follow us and use hashtag GPL to write us anything as well. We will welcome all your comments and maybe read some of them out as well as we go along. That second match coming up very soon, then stay with us. It's exactly the same lineup as we have seen, and the America's Conference matches will be coming up after those as well for the evening. Time to head back to Griffin and to Sam at the desk.
Correction, it's Grifton and Grafton. We're Griff Graf, and this is a Global Poker League, and it's week 7. And we got match 2 coming up. But before we get to it, should we tell them about what happened with poor Sorel? Actually, he's going to tell you the funny story about why he ended up showing up late. But we do have a rule that we want to explain to everyone back at home.
Okay.
Yes, I will go ahead and do it. I have all the information right here.
Yeah, so this is just a rule that we've put in place for players turning up late to matches. It's a sort of a slight penalty system.
Yes. So if a player has sat down even after the 5-minute connection grace period after a match's initial start time, they will be sat into the game and sat out, losing blinds and antes. If a player is still out at that time and another player in the 6-max busts, a 1-point penalty comes into play for them.
Which is exactly what happened here.
Yes.
One player bust before Sorel sat in, so his points total of 3 points, he'll get 1 point deducted from that.
And if a player is still set out, has not played a hand yet when they're busted out from the tournament, i.e. they never sit into play, which did not happen because Sorel made it, he becomes subject to a 3-point maximum penalty.
And we'll take 3 points off whatever their total is.
So that's clear.
And also, to clarify, if they continue to break this rule, if it happens, for instance, a second time,
we take your badge and your gun.
Yeah,
You're off the force. No.
We will punish a player by removing them and making him sit out for the whole match, and they will receive 0 points. We are going to clamp down on players turning up late.
There you go. All clear.
I mean, we're not late for our job, are we?
No. Well, I mean, every once
Hardly
in a while.
ever.
No. Yes. Sorry, Lewis. We try. We can try harder.
And excited to see these guys back in action for a second match.
Yeah.
Chris Moorman going to be itching to put up points for London Roars. Got off to such a great start. Sorel Mizzi
Itchy
obviously
and scratchy.
turned up a little bit late to the party. He'll be feeling this is an opportunity for him to get 7 points for the Berlin Bears, who have been struggling. And of course, Alexandre Luneau, seemingly a points-making machine for the Paris Aviators. 2 wins now in this format, 1 win in the heads-up format, a real top performer, top wild card, looking to continue with that.
Top boy.
And also, Guodong, can he reach the call button in time? Really punished for taking such a slow. It's all right to be methodical. It's all right to take your time over river decisions, but was taking too long every decision. The time bank, the hot seat, if you will, was activated. An absolute disaster for them and the Hong Kong Stars. Did so well to get the chip advantage over a real tough heads-up opponent, but couldn't, basically, if you're folding queens heads up in a 4-bet pot because you can't press the call button in time, you're
a little something wrong.
You're definitely, definitely a dog to beat Alexandre Luneau heads up.
Exactly. And it's. Can you imagine something like, I mean, this isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but if it was, it's just like the question's asked, 4 seconds, you know the answer already, but you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna phone my friend, raise. I'm gonna ask the audience, click it to 20K, and then it's like comes in, it's like, all right, just have to hit the call button. Gone.
Yeah. Really,
this is not Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
For Guodong. Alexandre Luneau, the recipient of a little bit of charity, and with his poker skill set, he's not someone you could be affording to give charity to.
Speaking of charity, Reg Charity, Sorel Mizzi, Connections, loving it, Live Barry. All right. Let's get back to the match. Are they ready to go, or we need to?
I mean, I guess someone's waking Mizzi up. He just went.
I can't. Personally, I can't wait for the story.
Another 10 minutes. Hop back into bed.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be Brian Rass going to be digging him.
Yeah.
Come on, Sorel, get out of bed.
Yeah.
Come on, Sorel. I'm sleeping. That's my imagination.
Yeah.
If they live together, like Bert and Ernie, Brian Rass.
And then the reason that they got in the ring and fought. The reason they got in the ring and fought is that's how they dealt with their roommate problems.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty close to what happened with us two when we were living together.
Oh my God. The stories I have for you guys.
Do you think we get Mizzi on the webcam? Do you think does Sorel Mizzi have a strong webcam game? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely huge, super strong. I can't wait for it. Hopefully it gets it again. This is 6-max.
That'll be something really.
I think he's playing heads up this later this week. I could be wrong.
Mate, I told you one of the most exciting games we got against Davide Katai. That's coming up tomorrow. We also have an amazing lineup coming up later today. Fedor Holtz back in action with Mike McDonald, one of the very strongest players in this format, and my boy, one of my, Chris Moorman, big hero of mine. Perhaps one of the few players that upstages him on my hero list, Philip Galfon, at the moment with 0 points in any format, was swept by Jason Mercier, looking to set things right, and get some points on the board for San Francisco Rush. We've also got
Oh,
the
come on,
terrible
let me
twosome,
let me talk about this.
Felipe Mojave Ramos and Tyler Kenny,
Yeah.
absolute crushers. These guys, both of them registered 22 points in the 6-max format, trading first and seconds back, two of the strongest performers of the first 8 weeks.
Yep, surprise performances too. You know, not only do we have Fedor the Superstar, Scott the Wrecking Ball, Mike McDonald, Felipe Vamos Ramos, and of course Tyler Kenny, TK.
Yeah, I mean that's a real. I mean, I spoke about kind of the weakness of this Eurasian 6-max match and how Mizzi and Moorman will be looking to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
In the second half of the day, we have a very, very tough lineup. Scott Ball and I believe Jake Cody for the second match, they're going to be in a real difficult spot for the struggling Las Vegas Rounders. But enough of that. Let's go to the match.
Sorel looking like a Berlin bear. Wow, that's like a hawk. Is that